Are we live?
I think so.
I think we're live. Yay! It worked. We're not dumb. We know how to work the internets. Hey guys, Adrienne here with YEG Cribs, and I have my amazing partner, Jessy.
Hello, everybody.
Jessy, thank you for coming today. She has been working with me in the background for a few years now. So she's worked with some YouTube clients.
Yeah.
Local clients, and I was like, Jessy, I know you hate video, but you need to just come on. So I'm so proud of her.
Thank you.
Give us a little like and a comment afterwards saying, good job, Jessy.
Please.
So, yes.
Don't be mean to me.
And you can say good job to me too, of course, because I always love compliments. But here's what we're going to do today. We're going to talk about our experience living in Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, the area, what we like about it, what we hate about it, some new things coming to the area. Actually, one special new thing, and we're going to do a whole nother video about other new things, and a little market update. So, Jessy, let's get you to kick things off. Tell everyone about you, who you are, all that kind of jazz.
Sounds good. So hi guys, again, my name is Jessy Coghill. I've been working with Adrienne on her team for just over 3 years.
3 years. I can't believe it's been that long.
I know, right? So yeah, me and my family currently reside in Stony Plain. We have lived in Spruce Grove. We have lived in Edmonton. We have lived in other places, surrounding areas of Edmonton. But yeah, I have a husband, like I mentioned. I have two boys who are 18 and 11 that are pretty actively in the community.
What does your 11-year-old do?
So my 11-year-old plays hockey.
Hockey mom in the house.
Yeah. So if you have any questions about hockey or super competitive hockey, let me know. Other than that, my husband owns a renovation company that's local in the area.
And if you're moving to the area and you need a recommendation, we will obviously be recommending him along with a few others. But yeah, if you need renos, construction, her hubby is like killing it out here. So hit us up. We'll send you his contact details.
Yeah. So I don't know. Yeah, that's a little bit about myself. How about you, Adrienne?
Yeah. Okay. So I've been living in the Edmonton area basically my whole life since grade 5. We moved from a little town called Wainwright that has a military base on it. And I cried the whole way moving here.
Oh, were you sad? Yeah,
I was sad. I cried for weeks.
Oh.
It was a rough transition from the small town vibe of Wainwright where everyone's wearing spandex still. And then I moved to the city and everyone's wearing jeans. I'm like, gee, mom, everyone's wearing jeans. What the heck? I was very not cool.
Culture shock.
Culture shock.
Yeah.
And so I'm just really glad at the end of the day that we moved here. Like, thank God, because I'd still be in that small town vibe. So my dad took the hit for the family. He was the hated person of the family, and he moved us here. But now I say, thank you, Dad, for moving me to the big city, because that really helped me just spread my wings and fly, and I wouldn't be a small town girl. So I'm very happy about that. I've lived in Spruce Grove, Stony Plain, Edmonton. I took off for a little while in my younger years, went to the mountains, lived in Canmore and Banff, and landed back in the Spruce Grove area. So totally love it here, planted here with my 2 kids and my husband. I have 2 girls. They're adorable and getting older, which is blowing my mind. They're like,
yeah.
Oh, it's so crazy how the time flies. But I have one that's into cheer, so she's gone down that road. And then my other one's just like school sports. She does all the school sports. They go to Woodhaven, so we're in the Christian Maranatha program. So what that means basically is it's just the free program. So if you're looking at schools and you're wondering what's out there, we've got public, we've got Catholic, and we've got private Christian or just free Christian. So that's the one I'm in. We didn't want to pay extra to have them at a private school. There's an amazing program at Woodhaven. They have chapel. They have a class where they learn about God and they pray. And what I really love about it, like I'm going to go off on a bit of a tangent right now, but my daughter has grown up with the same smaller group of kids. There's about 2.5 classes. So she has literally like grown up with these kids. And let me silence this computer. One sec. There we go. She's grown up with these kids her whole life. And she knows them well. They have like a little community. They all treat each other well. And there's like a lot of love and a lot of, just they care about each other because it's such a small knit little group. So that's been really cool and really rewarding to see. We live in the country now. So I live about 20 minutes outside of Spruce Grove at a lake community called Spring Lake. If you are looking at buying an acreage or lake property, or residential, like I obviously am very experienced in all those, but I do live in the country. And if you've never lived in the country and or haven't had a lot of experience with it, there's a lot to know. So feel free to reach out. Water systems, septic systems, all those kinds of things all the things that you don't
all
have.
the things that you need to know.
Yeah, when you're in the city, all that's provided. So, so yeah, that's a little bit about me. What did you do before you were a realtor? Do I know this about you? Did you?
So I was, stay-at-home mom. I ran a day home for about, I want to say 2 or 3 years. So a private day home out of my house. And then, before that, I was kind of just stay-at-home mom doing the mom things, like now realtor and mom things. So
now she's killing it as a realtor. I was a dance instructor, ran a dance school with my friends. And at a certain point, it was great, but then it was just time to transition to something that could actually provide a better income for my family. So it's been great to see this happen for you, for myself, where just you launch into something new and become successful at it and people support you in it. And so thank you to all the clients out there and even channel watchers. We get so many calls from you guys. We're moms doing the mom life and also crushing the full-time career. And so that's us, a little bit about us. We're going to transition now into some questions about the Spruce Grove area. So let's start with Jessy. What city do you currently live in right now? And what do you prefer? We're talking Spruce Grove, Stony Plain. What do you prefer, Spruce or Stony? And where do you live?
So as I mentioned before, I currently live in Stony Plain. I have lived here for about 8 years, I want to say now. Before that, I did live in Spruce Grove for about 4 years. And I honestly think that I prefer Spruce Grove. So I think I prefer Spruce Grove just because it does have a little bit more amenities. Now, when we're talking Spruce Grove and Stony Plain, they are literally like a 5-minute little highway drive apart, basically. So it's not like it's far if you do live in Stony Plain driving to Spruce Grove for those other amenities. But I find that they do have a little bit more there. And then it's just, I guess, a little bit closer commute to Edmonton as well. But I like both. And obviously we've lived in Stony Plain for, like I said, 8 years. So we like it here and we've chose to stay here. But I could definitely potentially see myself moving back to Spruce Grove at one point in my life or potentially Parkland County.
Acreage vibes. Actually,
yeah.
Jessy was a client of mine. That's how we met. And we looked at acreages at one point, but then they found a beautiful property in town that backed onto the forest. So like, you know what, in town life plus acreage feels, this works.
Yeah, it did.
Oh, that's awesome. Okay. Yeah. So I guess we already did mention where we live. I'm living in the Parkland County, Spring Lake area. But I did live in Spruce Grove and Stony Plain. And I would say that I do prefer Spruce Grove. Okay. There are people that do like Stony Plain. They actually prefer it because it's a smaller field. But I think Jessy and I are similar that I like to have amenities. I'd rather not have that extra 5-minute, 7-minute drive to go to the amenities. When you live in Spruce Grove, it's just all there. When you're in Stony Plain, you always kind of feel like you have city envy. You're like, I just wish I was over there. Yeah, I want to be there. And then, like that extra 10 minutes on the highway to Edmonton does stack up, especially in the winter. So you're that much less likely to go out and do something fun in the city on a Saturday if you're adding on time onto your trip. That's just the reality. So Spruce Grove makes you feel a little bit closer to Edmonton, which is nice. Okay, so that is that. Let's talk about the area in general, the tri-region area. What is that?
So basically, when you were saying the tri-area region it's kind of differentiated by 3 different spots. So we have Stony Plain, Spruce Grove, and Parkland County, which make up the tri-area region. So again, Spruce and Stony being in residential, and Parkland County being either country residential or recreational. Yeah, it just kind of depends on what fits your lifestyle better. But that's basically kind of what makes up our tri-area region.
Yeah, and it's west of Edmonton. So if you're looking at working in the city, you know, you're going to be on the west end or downtown, then you're going to probably want to live out in the Parkland County tri-region area. If you're on the north, you're looking at St. Albert, Fort Saskatchewan. On the east, you're looking at Sherwood Park. And then down on the south, we kind of have like the trifecta of, oh, that's a fancy word, the trifecta. You have 3 other cities in the south of the Devon, Beaumont, Leduc. So if you're working in that area, you're probably going to want to be in those cities. This is like west side vibes. And with the west comes Jasper.
The mountains.
So the mountains. We love that. We're just talking about this before, that you are 3 hours from Jasper. If you were to live in Fort Saskatchewan or Sherwood Park, you are now at least 4. Like, it adds on another hour for sure to the mountains.
Just that much more traveling distance, which makes a difference.
It does, yeah. And then we have some killer lakes out that way. So we have Wabamun. Wabamun's such a good lake. We go boating there. We're a boating family, so we like to go to Wabamun. Alberta Beach is not bad. Is there anything I'm missing for lakes?
I don't know about lakes, but just to kind of spit off on lakes is like, again, there's a lot of great areas for camping. That
True.
if you are camping, like, again, within close proximity to the mountains, to try to get like that terrain out of your view of your camper, or like you said, to just go off on the lakes. There's a lot of good spots around that you can.
So many good national parks.
Kind of commute to if you like the camping lifestyle.
Yeah. And then if you like lakes that are just a smaller lake, fishing lake, no speedboats, but you can have maybe a trolling boat, then Spring Lake, where I live, is just a little bit west of Edmonton. There's Hubble's Lake. So there's a few smaller lakes that are really nice. You can buy property around those as well. I currently have a few lots for sale in Spring Lake Ranch. So call us if you want to check out some lots for sale. So yeah, that's the general area that we're talking about. What would you say is your favorite thing about the Spruce Grove area and least favorite thing?
Okay, yeah. So I think one of my favorite things about living in the Spruce Grove, Stony Plain area is that, again, it's just short commute to Edmonton. However, I like the feeling of a small town. I like the feeling of a tight-knit community, as opposed to the hustle and bustle of big city living, I guess you could say.
Yeah,
so Edmonton, even some areas that used to be smaller. So I grew up in St. Albert, which I have lived there as well. And that was always like a nice small town feeling. However, it's just grown so big now and kind of has merged basically kind of into Edmonton, where it just feels like busy hustle and bustle. So I just really like that. Again, tight-knit community, small town feeling and vibes. I guess the biggest thing that I could say that I don't like about living in the area is the winter commute. So as nice as it is to only be about that 30 to 40 minutes, kind of depending on where you're coming from, to Edmonton, west side or north side, is the winter driving. So just sometimes we can get some really big storms, treacherous driving conditions on the highways that doesn't really make it fun.
It's so true. Yeah. Winter driving in general, when you're adding more time on, it's just, you're putting yourself more at risk. Now they do a pretty good job of clearing the roads, but it's just, there's just that much more risk involved, and it takes longer because everything's driving slower. So if you're in the city, you're just chopping off like a good chunk of time. However, again, like, I can drive from where we are in Spruce Grove to downtown Edmonton, and it can take maybe like 35 minutes. You can be on the south side of Edmonton, living in Edmonton, and it still takes that amount of time. So it's kind of interesting. Like, living in Edmonton does not mean that it's going to be less time getting somewhere. Like, living in the Spruce Grove area, it almost is like being in a part of Edmonton.
Yeah. And sometimes like those major roadways also help too. Like, we have like the Yellowhead and Anthony Henday that kind of basically, it circles all of Edmonton. So if you're on the Anthony Henday, you can get anywhere in Edmonton, I feel like, from there within like half an hour.
Have you ever drove around the Anthony Henday to see how long it takes?
No, I haven't done that. That's actually interesting. Yeah,
I feel like it's probably like 1 hour, like half an hour one way, half an hour the other way.
Yeah.
Yeah, we'll have to do that sometime and report back to you guys.
Yeah.
My pros and cons, I would say, like, I feel like I've always been a city girl at heart that is stuck in a smaller city, like a smaller town. I would love to live downtown Edmonton, or like, in one of the neighborhoods around downtown Edmonton, like Westmount, or, something cute like that.
Yeah.
Glenora obviously would be amazing,
Yeah.
but just to be close to the markets and the river valley and all those things. But I'm out in Spruce Grove because that's what my husband wants, and that's where our network is. And it's good out here. So what I really wish Spruce had was just more amenities, like cool restaurants, cool coffee shops. Like, I think there's one or two other coffee shops than a Starbucks and Tim Hortons. Like, there's
like private, like other than like
privately
big
owned.
chains.
Yeah. And
Mhm.
like, again, they're good and all, but you go to Edmonton, there's just, like, any
So
city
many
just
more
has so many
options, yeah.
cool, like, vibey places that just have awesome decor. And like, I feel like we could really use a couple good coffee shops in our area, a couple more like box restaurants, like an Earl's. I mean, Earl's is still generic and it's still like whatever. There's way better restaurants in Edmonton than that. But just to have a few more like big ones, like,
Options,
yeah. Like, what else is good? Joey's, Earl's. You go to St. Albert, they have an Earl's. Now they're opening a Cactus Club.
Yeah, they have a lot of other
that
like
is my dream.
restaurants there. Yeah.
Yeah. So when my con is like, in comparison to some of the other cities, like, is it just a little bit more worth it to buy in St. Albert or Sherwood Park, where you have more amenities? The real estate is going to be a higher price, but
Mhm.
you're not feeling like you're having city envy.
Yeah.
Clearly, I have a lot of city envy here.
Yeah.
So that's a con. I just want more stuff. But did we tell them about what's coming?
No, I was just gonna go off on that. We mentioned amenities, and
Yes.
we mentioned like having more here.
So I'm going to have less city envy because we're getting something new in the Spruce Grove area. Tell them, Jessy.
Okay, so it's really exciting, guys. It's been a long time coming, but Spruce Grove, Stony Plain area is finally getting a Costco. So yeah, that's super exciting, especially
So
for a lot
excited.
of areas west of the city of Spruce Grove and Stony Plain that are having to commute into Edmonton, where your nearest Costco's are. So
Mhm.
that's a
Mhm.
big thing, that a long time coming. Like I said, that this has been swirling of communications for years of this,
Yeah.
and so it's finally come that it's
And
coming.
we service so many people in this tri-region. I mean, there's a few reserves like Paul Band. I guess Enoch has its own over at Winterburn area. But
Mhm.
anyways, there's just so many freaking people out west going towards Jasper
Yeah.
that, like, we will definitely do this Costco proud and like service it well. And I just cannot wait to buy planters and all the things. So
Yeah.
that's going to be super cool.
Mhm.
We'll do another video talking about more of the new stuff coming
Mhm.
very soon. And then my con, okay, I said my con, my pro, my favorite thing about this area. I think it's just the mix of like affordability and proximity to Edmonton, because we like the amenities. We're on the west side. We're by West Edmonton Mall.
Mhm.
We've got an affordable kind of mid-range small city. We're not the most expensive, like we're not Sherwood Park, St. Albert, but we're not also like the most lacking, like say
Mhm.
Devon, where it's just like not a lot of amenities
No.
at all. We're a really good middle ground, and I do really like that. And I think that Spruce Grove is really like the tri-region. And the reason why it's called the tri-region is because they kind of teamed up to bring resources together so that they could do more stuff. So I believe the Tri-Leisure Center that was built, oh God, like 15 years ago or
Mhm.
more, probably 20 years ago. It's an awesome facility, but they kind of brought their funding together to build that. So with that, I feel like the whole vibe is that they're really trying to invest in our cities and make sure that we have all the amenities, and we're not just like a bedroom community that's just going constantly to Edmonton, but that we're self-sufficient, self-sustaining, have everything you need kind of area. So
Yeah.
I feel like the the potential for just people really valuing our cities is really there.
Yeah, no, for sure.
Right?
And like you said, in another video that we'll do, we have others to add to that as well, other than the Tri-Leisure Center.
Yeah,
But
so
that's for another
stay
day.
tuned. But what that means for you is like your real estate is going to go up because we are
Mhm.
becoming more and more desirable to live in because of the amenities that they're offering, because of how it's growing now. Hopefully that doesn't mean that it's just going to become like crazy traffic like